going to hear a few words from Mario Africa. He's a MOVE activist from Philadelphia, friend and supporter of Kenneth and Mumia Abu-Jamal, publisher of AWOL magazine.
On the move. I said on the move. Long live John Africa. Thank you very much for having me here today. It's a shame that I have to be here for such a sad occasion, okay? Anytime we're talking about cold-blooded, state-sponsored, premeditated murder, it's a sad day no matter whether you're in Texas or wherever you are. Whether you be in Texas or whether you be in Tikrit. We're talking about the same thing. We're talking about premeditated, state-sponsored, cold-blooded murder, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I bring you greetings not only from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the city of brotherly shove, as a member of the MOVE organization. In 1985, the city of Philadelphia dropped a bomb on our home, murdered 6 adults and 5 children. Those of us who weren't murdered in the bombing, my sister Ramona Africa and many of us who were at other MOVE houses, we were incarcerated and did long prison sentences ourselves. So we know where Kenneth Foster is, and we know what he's dealing with right now as we speak. Our brother Mumia Abu-Jamal has been on death row since 1981. Just like Kenneth Foster, Mumia is also innocent, okay? So I want to point out that when his grandfather, Mr. Lawrence Foster, I was working for AWOL magazine at the time, and I was also working for another magazine, a hip-hop magazine called The Source at the time. He called my office. He got a hold of the number, and I don't know how, but he got a hold of us and he said, look, my grandson's on death row. He's like, I need to talk to somebody. Somebody needs to do something. He told me to get a hold of you. I don't know how he knows you, but, you know, we got to do something. He called one day. He called another day. He called the next day. I was talking to Mr. Lawrence Foster. I was talking to him 3-4 days a week for a long time. He put me on about the case of Kenneth Foster. He used to set up 3 ways where we could talk, where I could talk to Kenneth for a couple hours at a time or as long as he had. And we talked, we found out that we enjoyed many of the same things when it came to music. We shared a lot of the same views when it came to politics. He knew about MOVE, he knew about Mumia, and what he wanted to do was get his story out there. One of the things that we committed to doing was to publishing his poetry. Kenneth is an incredible, eloquent poet, writer, speaker, political activist. He's not somebody who's just saying F the police or this is messed up or that's messed up. This brother has an analysis that has considerable depth. He can speak on any subject. He can analyze any subject. We're talking about an intelligent individual who not only, he wasn't just, this was a brother, you could tell from being in prison, you could tell when somebody's only concerned about their case. 99% of the discussions that I was having with Kenneth, he was talking about injustices, not that was affecting him on death row, but that was affecting us out here in the street. Okay? Me and Kenneth talked about it that thinks you're free. You know, take a walk in there and do something they tell you not to do. You'll see how free you are. MOVE's founder, John Africa, taught us that every single condition that exists on a prison block exists on a city block. You got drugs in prison, you got drugs out here. You got cops out here, you got guards in there. You got mayors here, you got governors here, you got wardens and superintendents there. You have rape in the streets, you have rape in the prisons. You have violence, murder, theft, graft, gambling, sleaze, prostitution, everything. You can't name one thing that exists on a prison block that doesn't exist on a city block. Okay? So if the conditions are the same, then understand, ain't nobody out here free neither. You could be in a 6x9 cell, or you could be in a cell the size of Austin, Texas, the state of Texas, or the United States. You're still in prison. Kenneth Foster has this understanding, okay? There's a couple other things. I usually don't jot down any notes, but I was kind of worked up, so I'm gonna, I don't want to leave anything out here. I'm sorry. One of the things I want to point out, too, as a fan of hip-hop music, Kenneth Foster, he became very excited about a group of comrades and a close group of friends and political activists that I'm also aligned with. They're called Dead Prez. All right. Myself, I'm also a member of People's Army. People's Army is the political wing of Dead Prez and the hip-hop groups that make up People's Army, the RBG, Revolutionary but Gangster Crew. And what we do is we are political activists first and foremost. Before we're entertainers before we are journalists, before, we're clothing, we run clothing lines, before we put out records and record producing and stuff like that, before any of that, first and foremost, we are political activists. Kenneth Foster saw that and he reached out. We have given Kenneth Foster an honorary position of Field Marshal within People's Army, similar to how the Black Panther Party did in the 1960s with Comrade George Jackson, who was organizing behind the walls of San Quentin. This brother has stood strong. The whole program, his organizing that he's taken on, we have been talking about for years. As much prison and anti-death penalty work as I've done, he's the first brother I know who has taken a stand and actually organized to say, no, don't eat that last meal. He said, no, don't take that, don't just jump up and, okay, I'm ready for my last walk. No, Kenneth Foster is a revolutionary, okay? And that is not a crime, all right? Kenneth Foster should be, look, based on his innocence, not based on the compassion of the governor. Because, look, there ain't no quicker way to die in the United States than throwing yourself on the mercy of the U.S. government. If you're a black male, if you're a poor person, if you're a woman, there's no quicker way to the death chamber, whether it be in the street or whether it be down there at Huntsville or wherever. There's no quicker way to find yourself dead than going and throwing yourself on the mercy of the governor, the president, or the United States government. So we understand that. The thing that has to be done is a situation has to be created that makes it politically untenable for the state of Texas to murder an innocent man. You can go to all that stuff about, oh, please, please, master, come on bended knee when you're wrong. But this is a brother that's not wrong. He is right. He didn't hold a gun. He didn't kill anyone. Nothing was premeditated. This brother is completely innocent. And his innocence should be his salvation, okay? Now, we're not talking about, begging and coming on bended knee. They have to be put in a position where they are made to do what's right. I want people to understand one thing. I want to leave you with one thing. This is not an isolated incident. This is part of a continuum, okay? This is part of a death penalty continuum. I'm from the state of Pennsylvania. I live in New York now, but, that's only been for a year. I've been a Philadelphian most of my life. In Pennsylvania, Tom Ridge was running for governor the first time. There had been almost a 30-year moratorium on executions in the state of Pennsylvania. He was elected because he vowed to reinstitute the death penalty in Pennsylvania. He ran on a pro-death penalty platform. When he took office, one of the first things he did was carry out 2 executions. The next thing he did was he signed a death warrant for Mumia Abu-Jamal. We beat that death warrant back within 7 days of the execution. Mumia, that was back in 1995. That was 12 years ago, okay? Mumia's still here now, and we're still fighting for Mumia, all right? Justice hasn't been done yet, but we're still fighting. In his next term of office, he not only he accomplished his goal of reinstituting the death penalty, but he said that his new vision for the death penalty, now keep in mind, this is when he was being considered to be Bush's running mate he's considered to be vice president. When he was running for re-election, he said that his goal was now that he's reinstituted the death penalty, he wanted to make it more efficient. By making it more efficient, his goal was to carry out multiple executions in a single day. Okay? That's what we're moving towards. That's what this is about. Okay? This is about precedent. Because other states have the law of parties. But this state is trying to make it a capital issue where you can murder somebody based on some kind of loose, half-ass bullshit affiliation. Okay? Excuse my language. But it is. Based on a bullshit affiliation, they want to be able to decide who lives and who dies. Okay? So this is part of the same exact continuum. Keep in mind, Tom Ridge, he didn't get a chance to carry out that vision in Pennsylvania yet. Okay? But that's only because he was promoted to head of Homeland Security. So we don't feel like we got off scot-free. And neither should you. But understand, one thing that we understand with our brother Mumia Abu-Jamal is that if this government can murder Mumia, who has a support coalition that goes around the entire United States and around the world, what does that say for the brother on death row who nobody knows? Okay? Kenneth Foster is lucky. Kenneth Foster is a lucky man to have a daughter, to have a family, to have a grandfather, a father, an uncle like he has, who was willing to get out here and fight for him, put themselves on the line, because understand that's what you're doing. You're putting your neck on the line too, okay? It's not just about Kenneth. They're also they got an eye on you. They know what you're doing, okay? But understand, he's lucky to have people to take that stand. But there are thousands of death row, hundreds or thousands of death row inmates who have no one, okay? If they can kill Kenneth Foster over something like the law of parties, think about every other black man or poor white man or Latino or any person who gets into a car with somebody, with more than one person. You're taking a chance at being executed by the state. He got in the car with someone. He was sitting 80 feet away. If they can do this, think about what that means for everybody else on death row. But then just don't think about what it means for everybody else on death row. Think about what it means for you. Okay? Because a lot of you out here are political activists. All right? When you go to get in the car with somebody, or you go to an action or a demonstration with somebody, something jumps off. Hey, law of parties. We killed Kenneth Foster. That's your ass. All right? That's what they're saying to you. What we have to do, again, is to create a situation where we let this government know that you are not going to come in here, kill our brother, and make us swallow it. Okay? They're doing that every single day with this war in Iraq. They're sending body bags back here that they're responsible for, murders and deaths that are on their hands. And they're sending them back here to our communities, and we're not opening our mouth. We're not going to let them pull a brother out of our community and murder him in cold blood and make us swallow it. Okay? We're telling them, if you're coming for Kenneth Foster, you are coming for each and every one of us. On this note, they didn't tell us. They didn't give us warning when they were coming for Martin Luther King. Okay? They didn't schedule a date to murder Martin Luther King. They didn't schedule a date to murder Malcolm X. Okay? They didn't tell us that they were coming to do that. They didn't tell us the day, the date, the month, the year, the hour that they were going to do it. But they are so belligerent that they're going to step in our face and tell us what they're going to do to our brother. We're telling them, you say death row, we say